4 generations, society has celebrated one idea above all others. Work hard, and success will follow. It's a belief so deeply rooted that few people ever stop to question it. Children hear it from their parents. Students hear it from their teachers. Employees hear it from their managers. Work harder, stay longer, give more. One day, it will all pay off. At first, the logic seems impossible to argue with. After all, nothing valuable has ever been built without effort. Every bridge, every hospital, every invention, every great achievement exists because someone was willing to work. But somewhere along the way, a subtle misunderstanding took hold. People began to confuse hard work with wealth creation. They sound like the same thing, but they are not. Imagine 2 people climbing separate ladders. The first climbs tirelessly, one step after another, never slowing down, never looking back. The second climbs more carefully, sometimes pausing, sometimes changing direction, sometimes even stepping onto an entirely different ladder. Years later, the first person discovers something unexpected. They reach the top, only to realize the ladder had been leaning against the wrong wall. Wealth works the same way. Most people focus on climbing faster. Very few stop to ask whether they're climbing toward financial freedom or simply becoming better at staying busy. This is the illusion that traps millions of people. Not because they lack ambition, not because they lack intelligence, but because they've mistaken movement for progress. Every morning, cities come alive before sunrise. Roads fill with commuters. Office lights switch on. Construction sites echo with machinery. Factories begin production. Coffee shops serve endless lines of tired faces preparing for another day. Millions of people are in motion. Yet motion alone has never guaranteed direction. A ship can sail day and night, but without the right course, it may never reach its destination. The same is true with money. Some people spend 40 years working harder every single year, only to discover they've built a career, but never built wealth. Others spend those same decades quietly acquiring assets, learning valuable skills, building businesses, making investments, creating systems that continue producing value long after the work itself is finished. From the outside, both groups appear busy, but beneath the surface, they're playing 2 completely different games. One earns income, the other builds ownership. One depends on tomorrow's paycheck, the other depends on yesterday's decisions. That difference changes everything, because the greatest financial divide in the modern world isn't between people who work hard and people who don't. It's between those who spend their lives selling their time and those who gradually build things that no longer require it. In this documentary, we're going to uncover why millions of hardworking people remain trapped in an endless cycle of effort, while others quietly grow wealth year after year. Not through luck, not through secret opportunities, but through a difference that most people never notice. Until it's too late. It begins with one invisible trap, a trap that almost everyone enters, without ever realizing they're already inside it. There is a quiet irony at the heart of modern life. The harder most people work, the less time they seem to have. Some wake before the sun rises. Others return home long after it has set. Week after week, month after month, year after year. Their calendars are full. Their schedules are packed. Their days are measured down to the minute. Yet financial freedom always seems to remain just beyond the horizon. At first, it doesn't feel like a trap. It feels like responsibility. A promotion means more work. A larger home means a bigger mortgage. A higher salary often brings higher expenses. Life improves, but so do the obligations that come with it. Imagine a hamster running inside a wheel. From the outside, it's moving constantly. Its legs never stop. Its effort is undeniable. But no matter how fast it runs, It never leaves the wheel. This is what many financial lives quietly become. Not because people are lazy, but because they confuse speed with progress. Society rewards busyness. When someone asks how you're doing, the most common answer is busy, almost as if being overwhelmed has become a badge of honor. We admire people who sacrifice sleep, who skip vacations, who answer emails late into the night, who are always on. But rarely do we stop to ask a more important question. Busy building what? Because being occupied is not the same as building wealth. One consumes your time, the other multiplies its value. The middle class has long been the backbone of every economy. Teachers, engineers, nurses, technicians, small business owners. Countless professions keep society moving forward. Their work matters. Their contribution is invaluable. This documentary isn't about criticizing hard work. It's about questioning a belief that hard work, by itself, is enough. For decades, many people have followed the same formula. Work more, earn more, spend a little more, repeat. It feels like progress because income increases. But if every raise is matched by new financial commitments, freedom doesn't grow. Only the cost of maintaining that lifestyle does. This is known as lifestyle inflation. The more people earn, the more they feel entitled to spend. A nicer car, a larger house, more subscriptions, more monthly payments. Eventually, the paycheck that once felt exciting becomes the new minimum needed just to sustain everyday life. Without realizing it, people become employees of their own lifestyle. The wealthy often face the same temptation. The difference is what comes first. Many choose to buy assets before upgrading appearances. They delay consumption so that ownership can grow, because they understand a simple truth. Every dollar has two possible jobs. It can finance today's image or tomorrow's freedom. Very few dollars can do both. This is where the busy trap quietly tightens. Most people believe they're working to create options, but in reality, many are working to maintain obligations they never intended to create. And the more obligations they accumulate, the harder it becomes to step off the wheel. The tragedy isn't that they work hard. The tragedy is that their hard work is often spent sustaining the present instead of building the future. Because the moment your income stops, everything depending on that income stops with it. Unless you've been building something that keeps working, even when you don't. And that's where the story begins to change. Imagine walking through a city at night. Towering office buildings stand illuminated against the skyline. Inside, thousands of people are still working, answering emails, meeting deadlines, solving problems. Their time is producing value. Now, imagine another building across the street. The lights are off. The offices are empty. Yet money continues to flow. Rent is being collected. Investments are compounding. Businesses are making sales online. Royalties are being earned. Assets are quietly doing what people cannot, working without becoming tired. This is where the financial game changes. Not because the wealthy avoid work, but because they gradually replace effort with ownership. For most people, income is directly connected to time. Miss a day of work, and income often decreases. Take a month away, and the impact becomes even greater. The equation is simple. No work, no pay, but ownership follows a completely different equation. A business doesn't ask whether its owner is sitting at a desk. A dividend doesn't check whether you're awake. A rental property doesn't stop existing because you're on vacation. Once the system is built, it begins producing value beyond the hours invested to create it. Think of an apple tree. The first few years are almost entirely invisible. The seed is buried beneath the soil. Roots spread where nobody can see them. There is no fruit, no shade, no obvious reward. To anyone walking past, it looks as though nothing is happening. But beneath the surface, The most important work is taking place. Then one season, the tree begins to produce. And year after year, the harvest becomes larger than the effort required to maintain it. Wealth is built in much the same way. The early years often feel slow, sometimes frustrating, sometimes even unfair, because while others spend the rewards of today, you're investing in something that may not fully reveal itself for years. That requires patience, a quality our modern world rarely celebrates. We're surrounded by promises of instant success, instant profits, instant fame, instant gratification. But wealth has always moved at a different pace. It rewards consistency more than excitement. It favors discipline over urgency. And it quietly compounds while most people are looking somewhere else. This is why two people earning the same salary can arrive at completely different destinations. One spends nearly everything that comes in. The other gradually acquires assets that continue producing value. At first, their lives appear almost identical, but time has a way of exposing invisible decisions. Years later, one is still exchanging hours for income. The other has built systems that no longer depend entirely on today's labor. The difference wasn't created overnight. It was created one decision at a time, one asset at a time, 1 year at a time, because wealth rarely arrives as a single dramatic event. More often, it grows so quietly that the people building it hardly notice its full power until they look back. And once you understand this invisible game, a new question begins to emerge. If ownership is the path to lasting wealth, why do so many intelligent people spend their entire lives avoiding it? The answer has very little to do with money, and almost everything to do with psychology. If the path to wealth is so well documented, why doesn't everyone follow it? At first, the answer appears to be money. People often say, I'd invest if I earn more. I'd start a business if I had enough savings. I'd buy assets when the timing is right. But history tells a different story. Some of the world's most successful entrepreneurs began with very little. So did countless investors, small business owners, inventors, creators, different backgrounds, different opportunities. Yet many shared one thing in common. They changed the way they thought, long before they changed the size of their bank account. Because every financial decision begins as a psychological decision. Imagine standing at the edge of a forest. Ahead of you, there are two paths. The first is wide, well-paved, filled with thousands of people walking in the same direction. It feels safe, predictable, comfortable. The second path is narrower, less crowded. Its destination isn't immediately visible. It demands uncertainty before it offers rewards. Most people choose the first path, not because it's better, but because human beings are naturally drawn towards certainty. Our brains are designed to protect us from risk. Thousands of years ago, that instinct helped us survive. Today, the same instinct often keeps us financially stuck. A predictable paycheck feels safe, even when it barely covers tomorrow. Buying something you can see today feels rewarding, even if it quietly steals from your future. Waiting years for an investment to grow feels uncomfortable, even if that's exactly how wealth has been built for generations. This is the invisible battle, not between rich and poor, but between emotion and reason. The wealthy aren't immune to fear. They simply learn to question it. Instead of asking, what if I lose? They begin asking, what is the cost of never trying? That single shift changes countless decisions. It changes how money is spent, how opportunities are evaluated, how time is valued, and perhaps most importantly, how patience is understood. Because the middle class is often taught to measure success by visible rewards. A larger salary, a newer car, a bigger home. These achievements feel meaningful because the world can see them. But wealth has never been built for an audience. It has always been built in the quiet moments. The investment nobody applauds. The business that grows slowly. The skill developed after everyone else has gone to sleep. The asset purchased instead of the luxury postponed. These decisions rarely attract attention in the beginning. In fact, they often look ordinary. Sometimes they even look boring. But compounding has never cared about excitement. It only responds to consistency. This is why financial freedom is rarely the result of one brilliant decision. More often, it's the result of hundreds of ordinary decisions, repeated long enough for extraordinary outcomes to emerge. The paycheck itself was never the problem. The real question has always been, what happens after the paycheck arrives? Because every dollar is a decision. A vote for the life you're building tomorrow. And the people who quietly become wealthy understand something that most never do. Money doesn't simply reveal priorities. It creates them, which is why the greatest transformation isn't found in a portfolio or a business or even a bank account. It begins much deeper, inside the way a person sees the world. And once that perspective changes, the decisions begin to change. Then the habits, then the results. Because before wealth appears on the outside, it is almost always constructed on the inside. And that brings us to the greatest difference of all. The difference between people who earn money and people who make money work for them. There comes a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when a person's relationship with money begins to change. Not because they suddenly earn more, not because they inherit a fortune, but because they stop asking one question and start asking another. Most people ask, how can I make more money? The wealthy eventually ask, how can money make more money? The difference may sound small, but changes everything. Imagine two builders standing before an empty piece of land. The first spends every day constructing houses for other people. The work is honest. The income is steady. But every new project requires another day of labor. The second builder also works, just as hard, perhaps even harder. But every few years, instead of selling everything he creates, he keeps one house, then another, and another. Years pass. The first builder has completed hundreds of homes. The second has built something else. Ownership. One accumulated paychecks. The other accumulated assets. Both worked. Only one created a system that continued rewarding yesterday's effort. This is the transition most people never make. Not because it's impossible, but because it requires sacrificing today's comfort for tomorrow's freedom. Ownership rarely feels exciting in the beginning. It's often slow, sometimes frustrating. There are no standing ovations for buying your first investment. No celebration for making an extra mortgage payment on a rental property. No applause for reinvesting profits instead of spending them. The world notices the finished skyscraper. Almost no one notices the years spent laying the foundation. That is why wealth is often misunderstood. People admire the harvest without respecting the seasons that produced it. The wealthy understand that every asset is like hiring an employee. A good employee creates value every day. An asset does the same. A business serves customers. A rental property generates income. A dividend-paying investment produces cash flow. Intellectual property continues earning long after it has been created. Each one becomes another worker. That doesn't require another hour of your life. Slowly, almost quietly, your time is no longer working alone. Your money begins working beside it. Then one day, something remarkable happens. The income produced by your assets starts paying for expenses that once depended entirely on your salary. The pressure begins to ease. Decisions become less desperate. Opportunities become easier to recognize. Not because life has become effortless, but because dependence has begun to disappear. This is the freedom most people imagine wealth provides. Not endless luxury, not unlimited spending, but choice. The choice to walk away from work that no longer aligns with your values. The choice to spend more time with family. The choice to pursue meaningful projects instead of merely urgent ones. Money was never the destination. Freedom was. And freedom has always belonged to those who patiently build systems instead of simply surviving within them. But there is one final lesson, one that separates people who become comfortable from those who create wealth that lasts for generations. Because building wealth is one achievement. Making it outlive you is something entirely different. There's a question that quietly follows every successful person. Not how much they earned, not how many businesses they built, not even how wealthy they became. But this, what remains when they're no longer working? For most people, income has an expiration date. The day work stops. The paycheck often stops with it. Years of effort can disappear surprisingly fast when they were never transformed into something that continues producing value. That is why true wealth is measured differently. Not by how much money passes through your hands, but by how much continues to flow without demanding more of your time. Imagine a master architect designing a cathedral. He knows something few people around him fully understand. He will never see the finished building. The foundations will be laid by one generation, the walls raised by another, the final details completed by people he may never meet. Yet he builds anyway, because his vision extends beyond his own lifetime. Wealth follows the same principle. The richest people in history rarely focused only on today's income. They built businesses that could survive them, investments that could continue compounding, assets that could be passed to the next generation, knowledge that could be shared, systems that could operate without constant supervision. They understood a simple truth. Anything that depends entirely on you can only grow as far as you can. But a well-built system can continue growing long after your direct involvement begins to fade. This is where many people unknowingly limit themselves. They spend decades becoming indispensable to their job, instead of becoming the owner of something indispensable to others. The goal was never to escape work. Work gives life purpose. It develops character. It creates value. The goal is to ensure that every year of work leaves behind something permanent. An asset, a skill, a business, an investment, a legacy, something that continues moving forward, even while you turn your attention to the next chapter of life. This is why the wealthy think differently about time. They understand that money can be earned again. Businesses can be rebuilt. Investments can recover, but time only moves in one direction. Every year spent building ownership becomes a gift to your future self. Every year spent building nothing beyond today's paycheck quietly disappears. That is why the wealthiest people don't simply ask, "How much did I earn this year?" They ask, "What did I build this year that will still matter 10 years from now?" Because wealth has never been about collecting the largest paycheck. It has always been about creating something that continues creating value long after today's work is finished. And perhaps that is the greatest difference between staying busy and becoming truly wealthy. At the beginning of this documentary, we asked a simple question. Why does the middle class keep working while the rich keep getting richer? At first, the answer seemed hidden behind income, opportunity, education, or luck. But as we looked beneath the surface, a different picture began to emerge. The middle class doesn't struggle because people lack discipline. Some of the hardest working people in the world belong to the middle class. They build our cities, teach our children, care for our families, keep businesses running, move entire economies forward. Hard work has never been the problem. The problem is believing that hard work alone is a complete financial strategy. Because effort creates income, but ownership creates wealth. One depends on what you do today. The other continues rewarding decisions you made years ago. That is why two people can work equally hard, earn similar incomes, and arrive at completely different destinations. One spends a lifetime building a career. The other spends a lifetime building assets alongside that career. The difference is almost invisible in the beginning. A single investment doesn't seem life-changing. One extra asset doesn't look impressive. One wise financial decision rarely feels dramatic. But time has a way of revealing what daily life often hides. Every investment quietly compounds. Every asset continues producing. Every thoughtful decision becomes another brick in a foundation that grows stronger with each passing year. Eventually, the gap that once seemed small becomes impossible to ignore. Not because one person worked harder, but because one person slowly replaced dependence with ownership. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson of all. Financial freedom is not a reward waiting at the end of a long career. It is something that is built, decision by decision, year by year, long before anyone else notices. Because wealth has never been created by a single paycheck. It has always been created by what that paycheck becomes. So the next time someone tells you to simply work harder, remember this. The goal was never to work less. The goal was never to chase shortcuts. The goal was to ensure that every hour you work today, plan something that will continue growing tomorrow. Because the people who build lasting wealth don't spend their lives asking, "How much can I earn?" They ask a far more important question. What can I build that no longer depends entirely on me? And perhaps the moment you begin asking that question is the moment you stop being trapped by work and begin building wealth, not just for today, but for the years and generations still to come. If this documentary challenged the way you think about money, don't let it end here. Take one idea from today's video and put into action this week, because knowledge changes nothing until it becomes a decision. If you enjoyed this documentary, subscribe to the Wealth Lab and join a community dedicated to understanding the psychology of wealth, mastering money, and building financial freedom through timeless principles, not quick fixes. And if this video gave you a new perspective, share it with someone who's working hard but has never been taught the difference between earning an income and building wealth. You never know. One conversation, one book, one investment, or even one video can change the direction of an entire life. Until next time, keep learning, keep building, and remember, the wealth you create tomorrow is shaped by the decisions you make today.